Hello, everyone. I have been asked by some of my clients to have some conversations about professional decorum, professional conversations, because a lot of them seem to be having some challenges in that regard. So, for the next few podcasts, I'll be talking a little bit about those conversations. So, here we go. A lot of people are interviewing right now based on the economy, what's happening. A lot of people are out of work. So some people are looking for jobs. Some people are in jobs and they're trying to move up the corporate ladder. Others are still in their roles, but they are a little bit uneasy every time that they walk into a meeting or a conversation that feels bigger than it should be. And what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that people prepare their answers, and rightly so. You can't just walk in to a professional conversation and ad lib your way through. It doesn't work like that. So you have to prepare those behavioral questions, those situational questions, those general questions. You have to prepare, you have to rehearse, and you also have to do your research. And even after all of that, some people still walk away from those conversations feeling unsettled, even when the conversation itself seemed to go well. And why is that? That feeling usually comes from something that no one explains. Because guess what? Most professional evaluation, it's not just about what you say, it's about what the decision makers are reading while you are saying it. Now, in my years working in HR, employee relations, and leadership development, I've seen capable people passed over. And it's not because they lack experience, but because they were being assessed on things that they were never taught to manage. You're being assessed on your presence, your judgment, your emotional steadiness. Say, for instance, you go into a meeting and you're saying something, you're asked a question, and you make a mess of the question. They asked you one question, you're thinking in your head that they were asking you something else. And it happens. So everything gets muddled in your brain. And that time frame, you become flustered. I'm getting flustered just talking about it. You become flustered. But how do you recover from that when you make a mistake? So your emotional steadiness. Do you start panting? Do you start breathing hard? What is it? How do you recover? So those things are being assessed. Now, also how responsibility will feel after the conversation is over. Now, after the conversation is finished, what is the postmortem that you do on yourself? You start looking at it, you start going over everything. What should I have done? Should I have answered the question this way? They asked me this, and oh my God, I made a mess of the conversation. What did I do? And you're starting evaluating yourself and beating up on yourself. It happens to the best of us. Now, interviews make this visible, but this doesn't stop at interviews. The same pattern shows up in promotional conversations, in panel evaluations, in salary discussions, even in meetings where no one tells you that you're being evaluated at all. Yes, they have those meetings. People are looking at you to promote you. They didn't tell you that they're looking to promote you, but they're watching your day-to-day activities in your workplace. How do you operate when you don't think someone is looking at you? It absolutely happens. From an HR perspective, I've done it many times. Now, what makes this difficult is that most advice focuses on only performance. It focuses on how to answer better, how to sound confident, and how to sell yourself. But guess what? On the contrary, very little guidance exists around how professional readiness is actually interpreted under pressure. So people internalize outcomes they don't fully understand. When they didn't hear back from somebody that they got the job, then they start looking at internalizing, oh my God, I made a mess of that. And sometimes it has nothing to do with you. People tend to over explain, they apologize, and these are in the promotional conversations or the interviews, people start to over-explain. You're asked a simple question and you 45 sentences later, you still haven't answered the questions. They apologize for pausing. You're asked a question, and not every time that you're asked a question, you have to jump into the answer. Sometimes you have to pause to get your thoughts together. And sometimes even when you start talking, you have to stop a little to get, all those things, the cohesiveness of the answer. So there's no need to apologize. There's no need to apologize when you're pausing. They undersell themselves out of fear or oversell themselves out of pressure. None of that helps. Now, what I've been spending time on, based on the feedback that I've been getting from people that have been asking me to do this, is that I need to name these patterns and name them clearly. It's not to teach the performance, but to help people understand the environment that they're moving through. Because when people understand what is being read in these moments, something shifts. They engage with more steadiness when they know what is happening. They make decisions with more intention. They spend more time looking at themselves and stopped reacting from urgency. This applies whether you're interviewing, seeking promotion, like I said earlier, or staying where you're at, or you're just preparing quietly for what comes next. Now, over the next few conversations that we'll be having on this podcast, I'll be sharing more as this work takes shape. Now, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast because there are many things that are down the pipeline that will be coming your way. So, this is the Harmony Podcast where we have integral, important, and great conversations to shape your life and how you show up. So, until next time, like I said before, please subscribe, like, and share because someone out there may just be looking for a podcast or for some conversation like this so that they can know how to show up in the professional spaces. Until such time, you take care. Ciao.